So Redfish Point was a community on the East Peninsula in the St. Andrews Bay area. It was founded in the 1800s by a free black carpenter and shipbuilder named Jose Masalina. So Jose arrived in 1836. He was later joined by his son, Hawk Masalina. He was a Civil War veteran, he was a carpenter, and he was a guide. So the community was settled primarily by freed slaves who were now free. They brought their families from the southeast. They came to this area, and it grew into kind of a thriving community. In 1941, the federal government removed all of the families from Redfish Point through a forced evacuation to build Tyndall Air Force Base. So they were paid $7.22 per acre. So all of it, whether it was just, land with trees on it, or whether they had built a home on it, or a business on it, or a church on it, $7.22 per one. Panama City, there was a meeting minutes that reported that 63% of the property owners that were forcibly evacuated never received any compensation at all. Now, many of these families resettled into the Glenwood or what's called the Hill community. It's more commonly, I think, referred to as Macedonia now. But I'm going to call it the Hill because that's what it was originally during this time. Now, in 1962, so this is 2 years before the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which ended legal segregation, our city, Panama City, built a park called Oak Grove Park. It was in the heart of the Hill community, and it became the only community at that moment that white children and black children were welcome. Up until that point, if you were a black family, there was not a park built that you were welcome to play with other children. So this is 2 years before they ended segregation. So that our community did this to try to treat all children and families with equal human dignity. That they did that before they were legally required to do so is commendable. Now, I realize that last statement sounds a little bit self-righteous. But this week, I talked to two men whose great-grandfathers were leaders in the Redfish Point community and were evacuated with their families. And I try to put myself in their situation. I tried to imagine that, I moved to a place of freedom, and I built a house for my family with my own hands, and then I was just removed. Like, what would that feel like? And then, everything leading up to segregation, I am terrified. I am terrified to think about what I would have done or wouldn't have done in 1962 if I were a part of the families that had power and privilege. I would like to think that I would stand up for the children of other families, regardless of their skin color. But you know what? I bet I wouldn't. I bet I would have been a coward. I bet I would have been afraid of what I would lose. So please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. All I'm saying is I've never experienced what these families experienced. So let's fast forward 60 years. So this is a representation of what Oak Grove Park was like before the hurricane. Well, in 2018, Michael hit, and this park became one of the parks that was a drop-off place for debris. And of course, this was temporary. So this is what the park looks like now. Keith actually took this picture like last week. It's been renamed Robert and Mary Cain Park. And listen, you know, I've talked with people, I've researched, but if you know, some of you have lived here your whole lives for a generation. If there's something about this I got wrong, please, you know, in the foyer, correct me. All right, I'm very open to that. One of the city councilmen that I spoke to this week said that the use and the future of this park is, in his estimation, the single most contentious and divisive issue in our community right now. Members of the Hill community said to me that the first and best improvement that would most benefit the kids in their community was to build a basketball court in a part of this park. And, you know, we could hope and wait, and hope that the local government would have the resources to be able to do something like this. Or we could see this as an opportunity for us to be a city set on a hill in a community that, interestingly enough, is called The Hill. Can you guess which option we're going for? I'm going to ask Wendell to come. Most of you know Wendell as a very enthusiastic worship leader and pastor. But I found this week that he actually has some experience with his park, so I want him to share a little.
Yep, so I moved from West Palm Beach to Panama City when I was in 6th grade, and my dad's a pastor. This was his first church. And this is, that's the park, and that's his church, North Bay Community Church of God. So all through middle school and high school, this was where I was all the time. And I started playing drums in church, so I was constantly here. My dad is one of my biggest heroes. He has such a strong love for people and for God. And one of our practices, we talk about solitude and generosity and prayer. One of them is being a witness. And I have the absolute best model from my dad from being a witness because of doing things like moving here and giving up comfort, coming from West Palm. And actually, this church actually burned down, so it's not there anymore. But you can, if you drive by, you can still see it there. But we would use that field for Vacation Bible School. We played kickball in it because we don't play baseball very much, everyone over there. But everyone would definitely play basketball. And so I just know for a fact, if this were to happen, it would make such a great difference. It would be a great witness and just provide all the people here in Macedonia Apartments an opportunity to get to know people, get to know the gospel. And so I just encourage you, if you have any conviction or any pull to be involved, please do.
Thanks, Wendell. So honestly, we're just getting started. We don't know a lot of the details. What we would like to do is build one full basketball court and one half basketball court. The full one for the older kids, the half one for the smaller kids. And so this is a rendering, and this is like super, super rough estimate. We think we could do this for about $40,000 to $50,000. Now, for $70,000 to $80,000, we could do something like this. Again, we don't have a timeline. Honestly, we thought about it, we prayed about it, and we decided to do this. And we're just going to see what happens today and see what God wants us to do. One thing we are committed to do is to work together with any organizations that want to help in this kind of renovation. So at the end of the service, you'll be able to give to the Bay County $4. Everything will go to this project online. Like I said, you can click the give button there. So some of you may want to volunteer. Let me say this. You may not, because you will mess it up. Now, there are a few exceptions to that. So let me just say this. If you indeed have the skills and abilities that would empower you to actually help build a basketball court, we would like to hear from you. All right? So on the back of your connection card, I want you to write the words, "I can build courts." Okay? And we will reach out to you and see if there's a way that you can be involved.